Berlin, where history meets culture and where every corner tells a story. My daughter and I travelled across Europe together, and we had just 48 hours to find out for ourselves what's great about Germany's capital city. Exploring Berlin in a weekend is impossible, but stick with me and you'll see just how much we packed in 48 hours. From one of the most historic landmarks of the 1936 Olympics to the remnants of the iconic Berlin Wall, we experienced the heartbeat of Germany's capital in just 2 days. So here we are in Berlin, just flown in from Stansted. We're going to head into the city now, go and check into our hotel, and then probably go and grab a bite to eat somewhere. Getting from the airport to the city centre was easy. We took an airport train into Berlin main station before getting the U-Bahn to Spittelmarkt. This was the closest to where we were staying at Cosmo Hotel Berlin Mitte. 2 nights here cost a total of €250, and it was the perfect location for exploring. It was a wet and miserable morning in Berlin, but we got out and about due to our limited time here. The first place we visited was the Holocaust Museum, honouring the 6 million Jewish victims of the Holocaust. There's 2,700 concrete slabs of varying heights, and walking amongst them leads to a maze-like disorientation, meant to symbolise loss and confusion. We headed back out into the city hoping to see some of the sights, but it wasn't as easy as we thought. We were in Berlin during Pride weekend, which meant there were lots of events taking place, stages and stalls set up in key locations, and different parades which made getting around much more difficult than normal. The city was colourful and loud, but incredibly busy. After a while we headed out to the Olympiastadion, somewhere that was top of my list to visit due to its incredible history and my love of German football. So we've just come off the hottest U-Bahn train in the world, coming out of the middle of Berlin, but we've come all the way out to Olympiastadion because we're here to see the famous football stadium where England recently lost the European Championships and where Leverkusen won the German Cup. It was just a short walk from the U-Bahn station to one of the most famous football grounds in the world. So this place is incredible. It's absolutely massive, really old-fashioned, and you can sense the history before you've even gone inside. I mean, look at the size of this stadium. And it was one of the places we really wanted to come to in Berlin. The Olympiastadion in Berlin, built for the 1936 Summer Olympics, carries a complex and troubling history. It was commissioned by the Nazi regime and used as a propaganda tool to showcase Adolf Hitler's ideology. Despite this, African-American athlete Jesse Owens famously won 4 gold medals there, directly challenging Nazi racial theories. After the war, it underwent extensive renovations and served as a venue for various events, including the 2006 World Cup. Today, it stands as both a reminder of its dark origins and a symbol of reconciliation. After spending a few hours here exploring the rest of the stadium, including a really interesting stadium tour, we walked back to the station and caught the next U-Bahn back into central Berlin. We headed for Alexanderplatz, often called Alex, one of Berlin's most iconic and bustling squares. Its centrepiece is the TV Tower, one of Berlin's most famous landmarks, offering panoramic views of the city. As well as being filled with shops and restaurants, Alex also hosts cultural events, and we were lucky enough to find a Latin festival in full swing, so we spent the whole evening enjoying the music and street food, including some delicious churros. A much brighter and drier second morning made it the perfect day to take the big bus tour. I think this is the best way to explore any city, and for €35 for us both, it enabled us to hop on and hop off all day long. The first place we visited was Checkpoint Charlie. Checkpoint Charlie was one of the most famous border crossings during the Cold War, marking the boundary between East and West Berlin. It was also the site of many dramatic moments, from espionage to daring escape attempts. Today, a replica of the guardhouse stands here,
while the Checkpoint Charlie Museum nearby takes you deep into the history of the Berlin Wall. Inside, you'll find incredible escape stories, real artifacts, and photos that showed what life was like in a divided city. Then it was back on the bus as we headed across the city, taking in the various sites before going back to Alex for lunch. We really liked the square here, and it was nice to see it during the daytime and refuel before a busy afternoon. It was into the former East Germany this afternoon, a fascinating and interesting opportunity to learn more about the history of the divided city. We headed along Frankfurter Allee, one of Berlin's longest streets. It's a key part of the city's socialist-era architecture. Originally part of the historic trade route to Frankfurt, it became a grand boulevard under the GDR with iconic Stalinist-style buildings lining its side. Also nearby is Karl Marx Alley, showcasing classic socialist realist architecture built to impress and symbolise the ideals of East Germany. The East Side Gallery is the world's longest open-air art gallery, stretching 1.3 kilometres along the remains of the Berlin Wall. After the wall fell in 1989, artists from all around the world turned this section into a canvas for murals celebrating freedom and unity. After some more sightseeing, it was goodbye to the bus that had taken us around Berlin, and we decided to take a riverside walk back to Berlin Hauptbahnhof, the main train station. And here's where we say goodbye to Berlin as we head off to catch our night train. I know I only scratched the surface, and Berlin's definitely somewhere I'll return to. I hope you've enjoyed sharing the city with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.